Play 5, that's our very last one here with Korea now at the end. Yummy Cheese Man back on desk and myself, Hysterics, now with a cracker of a series, as I said before. Tainted Minds and Legacy. This is the battle of the best.
And it's going to be a hard match for both teams. You have Legacy, they had that big showing against Chiefs that they came out not in the position they wanted, and then Tainted Minds coming off with a shaky game from Lovedex.
This is the previous team that went to RLCS up against the team that are trying to take their seed away from them. Legacy Esports have looked like the second best team. They're in a great position to make it as well. If they win both their matches today, they secure it. If they win one, they also secure it as long as they don't lose too badly in the other one.
And Tainted Minds on the flip side, where they just need to just take out as many games as they can, because they just want to get that top seeds. They need to move up towards that top 2, but probably fall in the top 4.
We've seen a lot of great plays coming out from Kami. There's a reason that he was the MVP last game. Yep. I think he's going to be a big part of Tainted Minds' victory.
There's been 2 different challenges jumping on, and Legacy Esports have had a consistent start to league play. Going against the Chiefs, we could say that the Chiefs were doing very well, but also that Legacy managed to take a game off them, which I was questioning. And I also think for Tainted Minds, they've had their good runs as well.
Yeah, and Legacy's roster is really powerful. The pickup of Delusion has been, it was a little bit of a surprise for all of us, knowing that they had such a strong potential, but he's just been showcasing serious talent. And then Siki, he's a bit of a game changer.
He's just really made their team what it is. You consider Delusion has come in and added a real backbone into it, but it's been Siki's ability to just turn and cut that has been great. What's really interesting for me about this series, playstyle-wise, is that, you know, Tainted Minds are very aerial-based.
Yep.
They control the air, they control the tempo of the game.
Speedy boys.
Whether Legacy Esports control the ground, so that's where we're going to have to really look upwards or downwards to see if the ball's down, Legacy should be in control.
Yeah, we did get to see how it went in the midfield last time when Darksided went up against them, and if you give the midfield to Tainted Minds and you give them the space to make those pass plays, it's pretty much game over.
Their passes are just so quick.
Which direction will we be looking at? Korea and Legacy? Granted, they are ahead of Tainted Minds, but Tainted Minds been to RLCS before.
I think I'm going to go with Legacy. Sirix and the boys, I think, have had a more consistent run, and I think when it comes down to it, the pressure builds and it builds and it builds. I think they're going to be okay.
I think consistency is a big part of this as well, because we did see Tainted Minds take that 3-0 loss to Jam, and even then they didn't feel super convincing against Lovedex, so I've got Legacy.
Well, I'll jump on the train as well. Look, if I didn't go to Legacy here, I think it would be a little bit surprising with their consistent run through the OCE Open Series and now the OCE Championship.
I wouldn't be surprised because you love CG.
Well, I was a firm believer in Tainted Minds. After what I saw against Lovedex, I don't think it was a convincing enough performance against one of our lower tier teams. Now, Legacy, who are running them up.
Well, our confirmed 8th place team now, unfortunately, so this is the battle for second place.
And it's a battle that's going to be hard fought. You have the Hungry Dragons versus those trying to keep their keep.
You love dragons.
I love dragons. I think Legacy are a dragon. They're scary.
We have a top 6 to find, but who will climb even higher? You don't want to be 5th, you do not want to be 6th, and right now Tainted Minds and Legacy will be clashing out for further seeding. Legacy already have been put on the back foot with an early shot from Tainted Minds.
And you've seen Legacy not quite in position, just getting tangled on each other. They'll need to find their location, those wide angles on the pitch that they love.
Because immediately Tainted Minds are keeping it to the air, and they're put on so much pressure in front of that net. Legacy off the defense finally, and Delusion's making a run for his money, stolen away by Kami, and this is already a very different Tainted Minds. Looks like they've brought their A game into this series, and the goal blocked away, but now Siki for the runaway. This should be his if he can get it past. Not past Kami.
That's normally Siki's specialty, and the shot from Delusion has put them on the back foot. Can Legacy convert?
This is such a different series. Tainted Minds able to bring it up this right-hand wing of the field. And CJ slow with the ball in front of Delusion. Will win it out eventually from the corner. Who's waiting down? It's Jules who gets up for the ball. Keeping it around this other corner. Sirix not getting a big clear, but Delusion will help do that.
A lot of the Legacy goals typically come from these big wide passes. Tainted Minds are one of the best teams at intercepting in the region, so it's going to be interesting to see whether they can intercept these passes from Legacy.
I think right now, staying on the ground, save time for Legacy, but immediately Kami brings it back up. CJ from this corner. Interception from Jules, and this is good for Tainted Minds. Kami waits patiently on the other side, and some good reads from Tainted Minds so far. This is so much different from the Lovedex series. CJ waiting down. Siki patiently goes over the top, and Jules will be the one in defense. Kami waiting in the midfield. filling each other out. This is a big series for Legacy, but just as big for Tainted Minds.
It's an incredibly close game as well. And both teams are really focusing on defense. You see, as soon as the possession changes, the entire team rotates back.
Delusion is the one who comes forward, and the rotation now made by Legacy. Zerix brings it to the side. CJ's coming in, and this will hit high. CJ sets himself up, but Jules is the counter play. A good defense from Zerix, and it's structured well by Legacy.
But you can see that all three have been holding the net from Legacy. It's such a dangerous prospect against Tainted Minds to let them get those passes, to let them get those shots, and set up that pressure in the first place.
The fact that they managed to hold on is just the level of skill of Legacy Esports right now. Tainted Minds will eventually lose the ball. CJ bringing it forward, Delusion now. It's a pinch over to the other side of the field, and let's have a look at Ziki, because Ziki and Delusion seem to be the ones running up. Zerix hanging back in defense. We'll get the clear, but Jules is here to respond immediately. Now the shot is angled in by Jules.
What an angle by Jules right in the top left corner, and it was off this brilliant read on that side post. Perfect angles, and that is a scary thought, because Jules is one of the best strikers here.
And Jules has been a man who has progressed forward in league play. We now see the highlight of him in Tainted Minds with 2 minutes 20 to go. They have a very different feeling about them.
And you can see the weakness in that letting of Tainted Minds having shots, because as soon as they get one, they place it perfectly, they get a big bang, and it's going to go in every time.
It feels like Legacy Esports may have read that well and able to bring it back up, but Jules now off the wall. Ziki patiently again, but you can't do that because CJ has his freedom.
Too patient, and CJ just goes for it. He's never distracted by his opponents. He just goes in and he fires it away.
Ziki slow to the ball. Tainted Minds even faster still. And it looks like the game is going exactly how they want it to. This is the Tainted Minds that went to RLCS. This is the Tainted Minds that want to sit up in the top two.
They brought in Jules to try and increase their chances, and if they can make it work, they can be that team that goes back. They can go and do more than they did last season and really prove that they can be a top team.
Maybe taking the title of the Three Musketeers away. 140 remaining. Legacy Esports back on the defensive here. Somewhere they really don't want to be. Give the room to breathe for Tainted Minds, and they'll get the backboard pressure. They'll get the dunk. A little bit shallow, but Delusion with a good read. Now CJ back up for the ball. Delusion, good spacing on that as well for Legacy to just hold on.
He just found it from the backboard. A desperation play, but Delusion has been so good at those clutch saves all season.
I think for Delusion now, it's more a case of cementing Legacy Esports off the backboard. The third and final was Delusion to hit it back around this corner. Pace getting built up by Tainted Minds. The discipline squad of Legacy are getting pressured again. This one comes off the back wall. It's good for Jules. It goes slightly past him. CJ waiting back as well. Now the passing play from Legacy Esports. They're running out of time. With a minute left remaining, there's the shot. Angled in by Zerix.
Oh, Zerix has really stepped forward this season. He's found the shots. He's one of the highest goal scorers, and that's off last season in the OCE Championship, where he scored the least goals of anyone.
He was in defense. Zerix lived in the net.
And I've seen this. Over a year ago, he was moved forward and able to get these strikes. It shows that he's really growing.
Look at him now. 2-1, 45 seconds remaining. Legacy have had a struggle of a start. The big bump out from Delusion, however, means Tainted Minds are able to get themselves back down this side of the field. Jules around again for Kami coming through. This is the breakaway. Delusion with a good pass. Zerix misses, but Ziki, if he's able to angle this, as Jules blocks it, pinches it out, and gets it through.
That might haunt Zerix. After the first touch, he wasn't able to get that second goal.
Now 30 seconds left on the board. Legacy Esports on the defensive again, but they finally break through off that backboard. A big moment for Legacy. It's sent away. 15 seconds, the last play from Legacy Esports is going to come through now. It's off the wall. Delusion sets it up. The 1, 2, and 3 denied by Kami. And a final moment as Delusion rolls with the ball. But the speed was not enough.
They had so many opportunities right at the end. It's going to haunt them for the rest of this match if they lose, because that was such a great chance from Zerix. Then a brilliant opportunity for Ziki, and then finally Delusion at that 0-second mark.
That was a close call for Tainted Minds, but they managed to hold on, and What a different play, Yummy. Against Lovedex, we were saying, hey, this doesn't look like a top 4 team. Against Legacy, looks like a potential top 2 team.
That's because Legacy were giving them so much time in the early half of that game. They just stood back, they stayed in the net, held 3 people in net for so long that they were letting Tainted Minds have the shot. As soon as they got 2 goals behind, Legacy decided, oh, wait, we have to attack. We have to get into their faces. And it turned the match around. The last minute was definitely all Legacy Esports.
This is an important series and one that you cannot misjudge your opponents. If you're going to pull back against Tainted Minds, they will take this series away. They might even take it in clean fashion.
We have to remember that Legacy Esports haven't really proven themselves against the top teams. They've only versed Chiefs so far. They haven't versed either Darksided or Tainted Minds. And this is the big story for them. Can they show that they are at the top this week?
They put on a good performance against the Chiefs, but it wasn't enough to take out the win. Tainted Minds and Darkseid are coming up today, so 2 Tyrants themselves, and a lot of matches to behold here on the OCE Championship. Game 2, however, and Tainted Minds, let's see if there's a change in Legacy's playstyle to really threaten Tainted. You're going to have to question, because Tainted Minds have been pretty convincing so far in league play. Said no big games against bigger teams. Siki on the defensive, getting it out of the air, maybe. Delusion will come through. Here's the shot. It's all the way over to Jules. It's popped up. Siki will be the one to receive, and Legacy look like they're getting out of their side of the field. Xerix will hit that crossbar, but the setup was really nice from Legacy.
Where did this Xerix come from? That was a sick redirect.
Perfect. It's Legacy who are trying to breach that defensive now. Siki will come off the roof, dunks it down. Delusion, the one to read it. Jules and Kami sitting in net. I think CJ swept through. Kami now out of net. Siki in front, and Xerix comes back in. The passing play denied by Delusion, but in fact they've just intercepted it once again. Tainted Minds with a minute past have already decided to bring it back down.
That last 30 seconds was all about intercepts. You saw them, both teams, intercepting every touch each other was making.
Delusion reading that well. It was slow-paced from Kami. CJ up the field will now run back to the ball, and Jules passing it over to Kami. Good play, but Siki reads it better. CJ again off the wall, keeping it down this side of the field. That's important, but Delusion, the pass upfield from the corner now. Jules gets there. Xerix up again, just feeling each other out in game 2. 3 minutes 30. CJ up with the ball again. Bounces forward. Kami now. The center could be here. Jules back to the ball. Up he goes, but this could be a mistake. It's Delusion will sweep it over the top.
That's huge. Delusion is the 2nd highest goal scorer. He's looking to get that Golden Striker award this season.
Could you imagine?
Coming through as a rookie, I don't think anyone's done that before.
I don't think that anyone would have thought.
Definitely not in OCE.
Delusion stepping up big. The first goal going over to Legacy Esports, and now they've come out of the defensive. This is the Legacy that can take it to Tainted Minds. The ball's going to go right back to center field. Siki, the one to rotate back. He picks up the boost, pitches it from the corner, and now goes for the second touch. As it responds, now Tainted Minds are in a good position here, but blocked again. CJ comes back in. Delusion with a good pass. It's gone over the top of Jules. Siki will be the one to breach and clear, but Xerix back over to Siki. The pop-up. This will enable Xerix to get the second shot, and what a good pass from Legacy. It's not done. Delusion will cement the final.
Wow, what a beautiful play. Just off the backboard, delicious, delectable, and Delusion gets the finish.
Everyone loves a good meal, and Legacy have been eating for at least 3 minutes now. They've gotten out of the goal. This is a different game too.
I really expected a lot of boost stealing, a lot of boost starving coming out from Tainted Minds. They have CJ, and Kami are the top 2 boost stealers in OCE. They use more than anyone else, and we haven't seen it yet this game.
Because now, finally, Legacy are putting them in their own side. This is the goal if it's coming through. The third member doesn't come up. Delusion hangs back, and that was Siki who, and immediately, Tainted Minds, they bring it back in. A second touch. It's going so fast for Tainted Minds. The pass, 1, 2, 3, Xerix. Delusion's all the way back here. But Legacy, they're just having a breath of fresh air, and it feels so good in game 2. 2 minutes 10 remaining. The pass again. The center goes all the way cross field to Xerix. Under him, now over Delusion. The center again. Legacy Esports getting the demolition onto Jules, but it'll just play with time.
Legacy Esports just having the full run of this. They're the ones stealing away the boost, and Tainted Minds They are finding some, but they're still stuck in their half because they're constantly having to go up to make a save.
It's the adaptation in the series that matters. Sirix over the top of the ball, gets bumped up himself. Delusion will center it. CJ passing it away, but this one's going to drop right in front, and Siki will lose the ball. No one's in defense. CJ passes it, but Delusion swings in the nick of time. Kami and CJ now, that backboard defended well by Sirix, and a whole different monster for Tainted Minds to deal with.
Talking about these two teams, we've got Tainted Minds, the #1 aerialing team. They get more aerials, more aerial goals than anyone else. And Siki hasn't got a single aerial goal this season.
Well, for Legacy, that could change soon at the rate this is going. Kami brings it up and keeping it through the air. Jules will now center it, a light touch over to CJ. 1 minute left remaining. The pass from Delusion, and Legacy seem like they have full control in this game, but Tainted Minds are playing slower with the ball. They look precise. Around the corner again, 50 seconds remaining. Legacy Esports on the defensive. They're still getting strangled out, I should say. However, still managing to hold on. Siki up with the ball. He's run out of boost. Kami will drop it down. Looks like the rest of Legacy might be coming in. Delusion, Siki now out of action. Tainted Minds should be able to find the center, but help with a big clear, and Delusion getting the demo.
They've spent so much time now in the Tainted Minds defense. It's not where they want to be. They're always looking to get into attack, and they don't have that ability to really get those defensive passes.
Well, 15 seconds. This just could be it in game 2. Making it ever so close series. Kami missing the double touch.
Just not enough boost because they've been on defense so long.
It's a struggle. It's a strangle. And everything in the next 5 seconds not going to be relevant as Legacy Esports take us to a 1-all. Big for Legacy, and that was the turnaround in the series that really will bring them back in.
They were so close, and it was such a struggle. Legacy really had control of that entire match. Tainted Minds had a few big opportunities. There was that big breakaway in the mid-game, but they weren't capitalizing on them. They weren't finding those big shots that we know that they can make.
But Legacy finally moved out. They moved out of the defense. They were able to get that, again, room to breathe. And that was a very different team. That was one that could strangle out Tainted Minds.
It was so tough because Tainted Minds don't want to be on defense, as we said, and Legacy were rotating. That's all they're doing. They're keeping their distance from each other. They're not getting tangled up like they were at the very beginning of game 1. Instead, they're just waiting for the touch, using up all the boost so the touches from Tainted Minds aren't as good, and then keeping it in the mix.
Usually we see Tainted Minds taking away the boost, taking control of the game. As soon as they lose control,
they can't take the boost when they're pinned in their own half.
right.
I mean, CJ, he loves moving forward all the way down the pitch to steal, but even he's not willing to move that far out of the play today to get that. So it's a very different play, and Legacy are forcing them to be a bit different team.
A very dangerous series, one that Legacy want to take away. They move forward onto Dark Side, but that, again, is a different story.
Even just taking this one win here is really important for Legacy.
Really is.
It makes a big difference when it comes to tiebreakers. If they take another game and win against Darksiders, then they're guaranteed top 2.
For Legacy, that would be such a huge start to the OCE Championship. And like Tainted Minds back in the other season when it was their first OCE Championship, they came away huge. Maybe for Legacy, the story will be similar. And in Game 3, we're going to get a better understanding of where they sit. They've already applied pressure onto the backboard, and it looks like they're pushed up nice and early. Get you out of the corner. That was a close one, hitting the crossbar. Siki now in no position to defend, but he will be able to reach the pass. Left for CJ. On this right-hand corner, 30 seconds to pass. Siki runs up. Play slow with the ball. Getting stolen away. Delusion now from the corner. Tainted Minds on the defense. It's not where they want to be. They need that room. They need the boost. They need full control of the map. But again, the setup from Legacy is mwah.
He knew exactly where Sirix was going to put that ball. He played so close and it allowed them to get this pass. That is how you beat the Tainted Minds intercept play, by allowing no room to intercept.
Like a good minestrone soup on a cold winter's day. Legacy Esports find themselves in love with this feeling, and that is the feeling of taking control over Tainted Minds. That bouncer will put Jules in a difficult position. Kami will help get the clear away, but Delusion has kept it down this side of the field. It needs to be responded quickly. Kami runs up to the ball, but it's only going to be Siki in the way. But the pass A little bit high from Kami, close from Tainted Minds, but this is more of what we need to see.
This is what we were talking about. They're not taking advantage of their opportunities. They need to be hitting everyone because they're getting so few.
Delusion trying to block the ball, wins that one out. The crowd behind Legacy, and I'm sure if they can get it out of the defense, we'll have more of those votes coming in. 3:30 remaining. Siki, second touch was actually quite pristine. It's in front of net. Kami loses out, and now Siki running away with the ball. CJ doesn't have full control over it. The corner is for Jules, but I'm sure this will be Delusion who wins it over, and looks like Tainted Minds just can't hold the possession right now.
They don't have the boost. Again, they've been held in their back half, and they haven't got enough power to get the clear.
Strangling out. Oh, you find a better word for it eventually, I promise. Siki brings it onto that back wall once again. Tainted Minds controlling 60-70% of this map now. 3 minutes left remaining. Legacy Esports still hold that lead. Up goes the ball. Siki, and Legacy looking as comfortable with the aerial plays. Delusion now off the side from the corner. Cyrix in the midfield. Siki all the way back. Jules bounces it, but Siki is well aware of what the ball's trying to do. CJ with the center. This should be a hard shot. Delusion waits patiently. Big clear from Cyrix. Again, 2 minutes 30. This is getting close, but Legacy seem to have the know-how to take down Tainted Minds in potentially game 3.
You're seeing some great passes still coming out from Tainted Minds. They're finding each other in the middle, but they're not hitting those big bangers that we normally see.
Legacy seemed like a whole new animal. Jules up for the ball. Again, this is going to drop in front of net. Has to be read well. Legacy a sweep through. I think that was CJ. Jules has gone back, and Delusion will clear the ball all the way through. It's responded. Good pass up to CJ. Angled in well. The backboard set up nicely from Tainted.
Great commitment by Jules. Just saw exactly what was happening. Didn't worry about the defense because he knew that they were going to have to leap for that one, and finds the open net.
Past all three defenders, and Jules has been showing us why Tainted Minds are again a team to be feared.
And they're getting the passes. They've found their possession. They know how to get forward now, and it's off these big center passes.
Cyrix will set it up off the backboard. Legacy Esports still as determined as ever. A team that is never truly pressured. Cyrix will bring it back around. Siki's going in for it as well. CJ with light touch will misconstrue where that ball is going.
It's a 2v1 right now with Kami waiting for the intercept. He ends up going for the demo, and it ends up getting saved out.
Well, Tainted Minds had an opportunity right in front of net. Cyrix with a solid play, pops it over.
The battle of counterattacks.
He'll rotate back, but Delusion now still keeping it down this side of the field. Delusion always there to respond after a play. A minute 20 remaining. Big miss from Cyrix. Might be good for Tainted Minds. However, Delusion brings it back up. It's not a miss at all. And in fact, will be near net again. Siki waiting. He's not going to commit for the ball. CJ goes around it, and Tainted Minds again. Back on the defensive side. Kami struggling. This one's going to go right over to Delusion. That's going to angle in. Oh! And a nice touch to finish it off.
That was CJ with the nice touch right at the end. He was struggling to get back. He didn't have the boost. He was put on the back foot, and he accidentally tapped it in. But it was set up by Delusion in the corner.
I was standing there thinking, wow, how did Delusion get to that ball?
What an angle by Delusion, right off CJ.
That's going to be 1 minute remaining. Tainted Minds.
No.
Oh, CJ.
Oh, double no.
He did not finish the ball. Big no for Tainted Minds again. And 3 no's do not make a right. Tainted Minds 1 goal behind. 50 seconds remaining. Now with the big clear, Jules should be up for the ball.
Oh, triple no.
Cyrix, a lot of no's coming out.
Oh, that was so many mistakes. You could see the nerves are getting high. They're so close to each other. And now Cyrix caught on the back foot, attempting the backwards aerial, showing why Tainted Minds are the aerial-based team.
More experienced team at that as well when you consider how long they've been together. Well, to a degree. Legacy Esports, they're on the defensive here. Jules looking for the double tap. It's 2-all. A pass upfield. He's not going to make it again. Okay. Tainted Minds on the defensive once more. Big clears from Legacy Esports will enable them to walk forward. Jules missing that ball. Delusion as well. Everyone, the pressure's building up. Jules will center it. Kami's there intercepting. CJ will recover the shot as Kami tries to angle it as well. Jules bringing it back. 15 seconds remaining, and maybe the last play for Legacy Esports here as Siki pops it up. Kami reads it well, but Siki's still in this corner. They might just leave it. They might leave it to overtime, but Cyrix has brought it in front of net. Siki comes in and commits anyway with a second left and one last chance for Tainted Minds Legacy in front of net. They want this to hit the ground. And we go into yet another overtime.
Death-defying defense from Tainted Minds right at the end. It was so close to being scored by Legacy, but they managed to let them back off.
Well, Kami goes up for the ball, and Siki still wins it over, but Jules manages to get the better of it. Kami reaching up and getting the ball a second time. Now for Kami, trying to follow the ball through, but Tainted Minds. Passing plays is what makes them so unique. Kami off this wall, setting up everyone as usual. Better read by Legacy.
This is the equivalent of a Game 5 overtime. We're here in Game 3, and every game counts. So, overtime already, the nerves will be huge.
So remember that the pressure for Legacy hasn't really shown before. Saw a couple of misplays, but looks like everything's still controlled in this corner. Siki not really winning that one out, but Sirix is up for the ball. There's going to be a center down Delusion. The one hanging back will now receive the better of it. Clearing all the way to the other side of the field. Tainted Mind should be able to get this corner, but guess who's there first? It was Sirix. Kami again to CJ, but Delusion off that back wall. It's not responded to quick enough, and now Siki will have a bit of an angle. A minute into overtime, Sirix has brought it back. Siki angles it in. Jules slow up to the ball, and Legacy take the lead.
Who would have ever read that Siki would get to that? No way did Jules see him coming out of this blind spot, and he still manages to find that angle.
Siki locking it in. A minute into overtime, Legacy are one step away from taking down Tainted Minds and moving further up the chain.
They have put themselves in a fantastic position because they've got these 2 games. They only need to win the next one 3-2, even if they happen to lose the next 2 games in this series. Legacy Esports are definitely showing they're the number 2 team in OCE.
And right now, that's what matters.
That's what gets you international.
That's what gets you up with, at the moment, what looks like the Chiefs going international. We can't make any presumptions just yet, but there has to be another team that is a powerhouse, and Legacy have been running amok. Now against Tainted Minds, later Darkside, we don't know what could happen.
I know.
Legacy
I've
can
read the
change
script.
fate. It's got to be. It's got to be at this stage, because Legacy seems
They have been so good throughout the season. They were the only ones that really, truly challenged Chiefs when they were in top form. We have to remember, Chiefs have only dropped 3 games, and a third of them was against Legacy.
And the other 2 were what? Against Lovedex.
Lovedex, yeah.
Which was a bit of a surprise in itself. However, for Legacy now, they have one game that separates them from a win over Tainted Minds. They do not feel pressure. They lose the first game. They move forward.
If they win this 3-1 as well, they can afford a 1-3 loss and still guarantee themselves top 2 in the next one. It's actually ridiculous how well they've played, but it's not only that, it's Tainted Minds losing to Jam Gaming, and it's Darksided losing to Retirement Home. Legacy have just been consistent, and that's what you need to be a top team.
The structured, disciplined squad now face a potential last game against Tainted Minds, 2-1. And Game 4 for Legacy Esports will be about putting the vampire in the coffin.
Yeah, you put the stake in the vampire, not the vampire in the coffin.
We want to put him to bed. That's what needs to happen. It was a PG version of the stake. And Legacy Esports have been so structured in this league play. Now against Tainted Minds, only dropping 1 game so far. Let's see what else they can do. The clear will come through from Tainted Minds. And off this corner now, not good for Legacy if CJ can get on it. But always reading those clears, always reading those shots from Tainted Minds.
Tainted Minds already continuing their legacy from last game where they've got that a chance to attack. They're finding the opportunities.
Kami around the side. CJ, this should be the pass over to Jules, keeping it high, exactly where they like it. Jules drops down and Kami walks all the way back. They're a little bit scared of Legacy right now. And with a setup like that, why wouldn't you be?
Just so quick off the corner. The pass out from Delusion. He's the third highest passer. And he's the 2nd highest goal scorer across the entire league. And he was the rookie this season.
And how do you get a mix like that? Well, Legacy Esports, with their precision, with their growth in the past 6 months, this is how it happens. Off the kickoff, Delusion almost beats out the second, but Sirix will lock it in. Legacy, they want to take this one home.
All that man at the start. The man we've been talking about, Delusion, who has been getting assist after assist for both of his teammates.
You can't help but talk about Delusion.
I can't. He's blowing our minds with the fact that he has become what nobody thought. The person coming in for his first ever season and turning a team that was 7th, actually, last season into a team that is now potentially second.
Siki and Sirix always wanted to bypass that curse, move past fourth, and this will define them this series. 2-0 up, 3 minutes 40 remaining. They've got to be feeling good. Tainted Minds are trying to get through this defense, but the clears, the long passes, they're struggling with it right now. Delusion will pop it up to the center. Siki trying to read it. Over the top go Tainted Minds, and Jules will narrowly almost get through. CJ comes back in. Delusion waiting on the side. Doesn't have any boost. Jules beats him out. And over to the side now. They have to get through Jules, but it's angled in quite precisely. Cleared away again.
Jules doing a lot of work in that forward half, just trying to grind it through, but you can see as soon as Legacy get a touch, they'll get the clear right back out.
Siki waiting down. The clear has been responded once again, but off the wing now. They weren't expecting that one. Sirix pops it up. 3 minutes left remaining. Legacy are so damn close. They need to hold on, but they want to go for more, and they've found the third.
This is just getting insane. I mean, this is Tainted Minds. You don't dominate them like this.
But apparently Legacy do. Apparently Legacy want to take their previous position, and this puts them in such good contention to walk into RLCS with their heads held high. End of league play, the start of new beginnings. Legacy Esports 3-0, 2:45. Good pass, but Delusion is going to get a defender medal as well. Or a savior medal at that rate. Sirix sending it away. Siki from the corner, Delusion with the third. The precision, the coordination from Legacy has just been so on point since the second game. They've made the adaptation mid-series, and it's worked out. 2 minutes 30 remaining. Legacy again for the fourth. They are more than walking away. They're sprinting to the finish line.
They've just found out how to beat Tainted Minds. They're getting these long passes. They're putting the pressure on, and now combining that with intercepts.
How do you step up to Legacy when they're in this finer form?
Well, Tainted Minds adapted. They improved. They found out how they play the midfield with those big, long, booming passes, but now Legacy are shutting those down as well.
Legacy have just been such a team to make their way through league play and change at every moment they need to. Their play style more or less stays the same, but those small little changes are dictating their successful run. The Demolition will help out, but at this point, I think we just got to say Tainted Minds, this could be over.
That is the playmaker for Delusion. That's Sirix's hat-trick, I think, in this game. Well, actually 2 goals already in this game. I just don't know what's happening.
I think that Tainted Minds have just fallen behind, and Legacy have run away with it.
There's still, I have to remind you, there's still 2 minutes remaining.
So 5-0 could not be over just yet. And there is some potential. Jules bringing it all the way upfield. Sirix hanging back on the right-hand wing. Siki here as well. Tainted Minds are going to have to break through exceptionally fast, but Siki with the pass upfield. Delusion now moving as well. Sirix is there, 1:45 from this corner. Siki's up for the ball. It's going to be right on in, and CJ sweeps through. I think for Tainted Minds, they're just struggling to get out of this side of the field. Delusion goes to the Demolition. Kami now goes for the bouncer. CJ comes in, angles it in nicely, but it's swept away again by Siki.
Legacy needed this game in order to be able to get into the top 2, I should say. They've guaranteed themselves top 4. Just going to fire one in nicely.
They've guaranteed themselves a win.
They've guaranteed themselves top 4 at least with that win over Love Dex. And Legacy Esports in such a good position. The only shame is that they can't overtake Chiefs. Chiefs, since Tainted Minds got that single game win, Chiefs can't be beaten. They are the guaranteed #1.
But Legacy want to sit up there nicely with the #2 position, and what a run
I can't
of the
see
series.
them not getting it after this.
What a run of the series. It now puts more question marks on how they go against Darksided. For Tainted Minds, though, let's not forget, they played an exceptional series here, but it's like when Legacy went up against the Chiefs. Legacy were maybe just not in the same skill gap. Right here, it feels like Tainted Minds now aren't in the same skill gap.
Delusion decides to pass to himself now. He's sick of passing to his teammates. Just all the way, takes out 2 players, finishes it off. 7-0 against Tainted Minds. This has to be a record.
This has got to be something, because it's Legacy.
Siki may have also got his first aerial goal of the season. Who
Oh,
knows?
really? Oh, should have kept track of that,
Yeah,
actually.
I wasn't watching.
Off the roof, Delusion now getting creative. At this point, now it is a formality. Jules will bring it forward. And for Tainted Minds, I mean, they still hold top 4, but this could be a rematch at some point throughout our top 6, our top 4 when we go to RLCS playoffs. Finally, Tainted get a goal, but The Brazilian just might not be enough at this stage.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
But it is a good way to finish out if you're Tainted Minds. You don't want to go down crawling. You want to go down jogging at least. Something for Legacy Esports to consider is, yeah, again, this could be a rematch. This could be this could be the series that decides who goes to RLCS and who doesn't.
I think it is. This is going to be a rematch in that top 4 finals. It's going to be very difficult for anyone to take down Tainted Minds in that top 6 playoffs with a second life. If they didn't have the second life, I could see the upset, but Tainted Minds definitely aren't going to lose 2 series in a row in that match.
Oh, Legacy. They've got Darksider coming up next, and Tainted Minds will know that, look, they'll get an understanding of maybe where they sit, considering how the next series goes. If Darksider are able to pull away a couple of games, they'll say, we've got another enemy in Darksider, as we all know they probably do. But for Legacy, they're climbing their way to the top ever so, well, I was going to say slightly, maybe not. But Legacy taking the win over Tainted Minds. Not an upset, but boy, oh boy, is that a convincing style for Legacy to finishing off.
What a wake-up call for Tainted Minds as well. The fact that they lost that last game so hardly means that they're going, okay, wow, we really need to catch up. We thought we were having a bad start. They're not having a great finish either.
Yeah, these are teams that are meant to be banded together in a similar bracket. You shouldn't have this discrepancy.
It was the fight for second place.
Yeah, this should have been like that score is first, 8th. Not...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It really wasn't. The finisher was
like
Legacy running away. 7-1. Legacy were confident as all hell. 3-1 in the series. At the first glance, you wouldn't think that would be a 3-1.
Well, when just the first game, it didn't feel like it was going to be a 3-1. Or if it was, definitely not that direction. You saw the start of the game coming out. Tainted Minds had so much more control. They pretty much dominated the pitch, and it wasn't until Legacy started to get in the midfield, starting to get the intercepts, and then it just kept on flipping forward, and they started getting long passes, which shouldn't have happened against Tainted.
It's a lot about that confidence as well. Sirix and Delusion both like to step back, but as soon as they step forward, that is when they have a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, and Sirix, when he starts to shoot, he becomes unstoppable.
4 goals in that last game.
So if we potentially do see this rematch, how are Tainted Minds going to have to change? What made them so shut out in that series?
Well, some of the long passes that did actually come out from Legacy's side, I think if Tainted Minds are on, they wouldn't have happened. Like, Tainted Minds would have got up there. Jules would have been up there intercepting.
But was it the matter of boosters we're talking about, getting shut out and getting the boost stolen away?
No, they weren't stealing boost. Legacy were just controlling the pitch. They were spread out. They were always going to be the first to get to the ball because they weren't clumped up a lot like Tainted Minds.
Well, that's fair. Now, I'm going to come back before we go to a break. Contender, gentlemen, for the Owned by HP. Is it Delusion?
I think Delusion's a fair case to make. I mean, he's the guy that's come in. This is his first championship series, and he put a strong showing. But again, Sirix is another one I would happily throw into the ring.
I think throw both of them.
Yeah.
Sirix, just purely based on stats alone, he scored the most goals, if I recall, during that entire series.
Yep.
And then Delusion was just setting up every single
Maybe
one.
Sicky if he got an aerial goal.
He did get an aerial goal.
Yeah.
So well done to Sicky.
Congratulations.
For Legacy, though, it does not stop there. Of course, they will be taking on Darksider next. For anyone out there who wants to challenge yourself or move forward in Rocket League, throwdownesports.com, you can go and sign up to now the open qualifier for our new Rocket League Community Cup. We are going to go to a 5-minute break, and when we return, Darksider jumping on the pitch with the dangerous Legacy.